get ready with me to go to the neurologist and kind of give you all an outline of where I'm at right now. I've been posting for a while for obvious reasons. I had some health problems with a condition that I've had in the past, and I'm kind of like, I have permission from my mom to do this. I wanted to share my experience with epilepsy specifically, in the way of how my body reacts, and kind of just if you guys have epilepsy, you're not alone, because I have it too, and it sucks. I've had epilepsy problems since I was about 2, and so, but I had a large break for a while, and then Saturday, as in the day before Easter, I had a lot of problems return again. Now, during that entire break that I had petit mal seizures, which are just I zone out for a little bit, I feel tired, and I get a headache. That's pretty much it. Now, there are all different kinds of seizures, and it's a total mess to even go into research and deal with it, but a few weeks ago, actually, around March 7th, because I started getting them around my mom's birthday, I started getting these weird muscle tics. In order to describe them, it looks like I have Tourette syndrome, but I don't. They're little mini seizures, and actually the way that I describe them to everyone is mini earthquakes. It's what petit mals are to grand mals, which are the massive, big, passing out and shaking seizures. These tics are to petit mals, which I explained previously. I know I said I was going to post a birthday vlog, and I honestly don't remember why I didn't, but, so I'm I'll just post for Easter. God had other plans. So, Saturday, the 4th of April, I woke up and I was not feeling good. We were actually planning on going somewhere, and I was I'm just gonna stay. And Mom was well, okay. I had a intense petit mal the day before, which we thought was why I wasn't feeling good. So we just stayed home. I relaxed and just kind of went about my daily business. I did some stuff, and by the time afternoon hit, I was absolutely exhausted. Now, I get tired very easily, especially the days after I have petit mals. And so I just was laying on the couch and watching Life of Gypsy Rose after Lock Up, which became one of my favorite shows. And I remember just sitting on the couch. This was a couple weeks ago. I remember sitting on the couch and I just started feeling sick. I was not feeling good. I was actually having trouble forming words. I was stuttering, and I didn't even try to get up and walk. I was dizzy. I had massive vertigo. Yes, there's a difference between the two. And so my mom was how about you just take a rest and we'll get back to work later, because it was a big chore day since we had decided to stay home. So I rolled over, and next thing I know, my mom and sister are calling me out of a grand mal seizure. Now, keep in mind, I haven't had grand mal seizures since 3 years or even 4 years previously. And the weird part is I could hear them the entire time. Every time that I had them before, I would pass out and just be unconscious. This time I could hear them, which was way different than what I had before. Now, it didn't only lasted about 30 seconds, so my mom was obviously concerned because I haven't had them in so long, but we weren't at the point of going to the ER yet, because if they don't last more than 5 minutes, or you don't have multiple of them, it's not a humongous worry, but keep an eye on it. So I just continued to rest, lay down. We call my grandma, who is she's actually my school teacher, and I also wanted to hear my grandma's voice. So my mom calls my grandma and explains what happens, and so I'm talking to my grandma, and I don't even know how to explain this, but I had a moment where everything sounded far away. I was getting tunnel vision. I thought I was going back into another seizure. Didn't go back into another seizure at that point. Well, a little bit later, my mom was down the hall, and I started feeling weird again. And I never was able to prepare myself. It's just all of a sudden, it just happened before, but this time I was able to feel them coming on. So I yelled down the hall, something's wrong again, I feel weird again, and I go into another seizure. Yep, 2 seizures. And so my mom looks it up. There's 2 or more seizures. She calls my grandma again and is like, we're going in because something's wrong. And I live an hour away from that hospital. So and these were like 45 minutes apart. So I was prepared to have another one in the car. Yeah, and I did. It wasn't as bad, but also another thing that I forgot to mention was my legs gave out on me. They were not working, but this was a lot more, like, my body was moving a lot more during the seizures than I've ever had before, which was very concerning to my mother and me. And I ended up having to use a wheelchair because my legs would not move. It was extremely painful. So we go in, and about one seizure and feeling really crappy later, we're in the hospital. And I hadn't seen the neurologist in like 3 or 4 years, probably more than that. I'm just probably doing math wrong. Since that point, because I hadn't had bad seizures and I didn't need my neurologist. So the ER doctor calls up to the neurologist, they set up stuff, and they get me on the EEG, which is what this is. I've had this since Monday, and actually I have to go in and get it offloaded and the batteries changed, which is technically why I'm getting ready. And they got me in with everyone immediately because this was very concerning. And while I was in the hospital, I had at least one really grand mal seizure, and then I had a couple of episodes like I had before when I was on the phone with my grandma. Like, everything sounded far away, I was dizzy, I was nauseous, but I didn't go into a full shaking grand mal seizure. That being said, it wasn't fun, and I don't recommend to anyone. Now, I'm wearing a bandana, but this is a whole bunch of cords, and I have like my head wrapped up. I'm right now on the EEG. It's 5 days. They're not always ambulatory EEGs that they do, but oftentimes if it's bad enough, they will do them, and it sucks. It's not for the weak. That being said, here we are today getting ready for my neurologist appointment. And I don't even know what to expect. I haven't been to a neurologist. This is a new neurologist than the one that I had before. And I haven't been to one in like 5 years. So this should be good. Everyone says that she's really, really good. So hopefully it all goes well. But what sucks is, like, the things that I love doing, like, I have a hard time doing now. Like, I am walking better, a whole lot better, and I'm able to, like, understand things, but I was on meds, and then I'm off meds because of the EEG, and also it was causing more leg problems than it was fixing, so we ended up going off of it. So on this whole thing, I'm going to be sharing little pointers. Now, mind you, I am not a doctor. I am just someone who has experienced this and has been through it more than once at this point. Because I had an EEG when I was really little. I was like 4. And I had a few-day ambulatory EEG, which is the one where you take home. Oftentimes, they have you stay in the hospital. You have to use sleep-deprived, no caffeine, and you just sleep in the hospital. And it's a study, but if it's bad enough, they want to watch you for a longer period of time, and obviously they're not going to keep you in the hospital for, me personally, 5 days and be in the worst position possible. So what they do is you go in and they stick these little, like, cords with, like, little nodes to your head, and as you can see, this one is, it's like little paper things, and they have them all over your head, mainly on the back of your head, but they have a few here and like ones around your ears. And what this does, it's actually really cool to watch on the computer, is they watch you, like, your brain. It is so minute. It tracks when you breathe or when you blink. I personally have watched this. I remember, like, I had one of those tics that I mentioned earlier, where I just move my head a little weird, and watching it was so cool. It's like these little lines on computer. Look it up if you don't know what I'm talking about, but they're absolutely so cool to watch. Like, that's the best part of the whole process. And I am very lucky to say that the tech that I have is like the best tech in the entire thing. I've never had. He's so good. He, like, jokes. He does crafts. Like, I love doing crafts. And so we get along really well. Whoa, oof. And so I figured along this whole thing, once again with the, actually, this was my mom's idea, and I absolutely totally loved it, was me personally, going into public looking like this, I feel like I am the odd one out. I feel like no one else has this. Like, what do? I feel embarrassed. And I know that that isn't good. It's a medical device. And if anyone is like, oh, that's weird, like, why do you have that? That's their problem. But still, it doesn't help the fact that I have anxiety, specifically social anxiety, and just like I feel like I'm like an annoying human being, and I want everyone to know that like you don't need to feel like that. That also being said, I want to share with everyone like the things that I do that make me feel better. Specifically, one of them is doing my makeup, which is what I'm doing right now, even though I can't do my forehead. Like I've mentioned before, I see makeup as just like a way to express emotion, and I absolutely love it. I don't do it for anyone else but myself. It's just pure enjoyment for me. And so I want to share with everyone how like it helps and other things that you can do that might help too. And also I want to remind everyone not to be embarrassed to go into public and have medical problems. It's life. Like before I got the EEG, I would have tics in public, and I remember like wanting to hide behind like clothing displays specifically was a big one, because like I felt like people were going to think that I had Tourette's, which I don't. I will never claim to, because that is also a really bad condition, and I never want people to think that I do or think that I'm faking it, which I have had people think. And or just like thinking that something's wrong with me. Like nothing is wrong. Well, actually, something is wrong, and especially if you're going in public with a medical device, they're figuring out what that thing is wrong. Okay? So don't be embarrassed. Actually, in fact, own it, because more than likely you're going to give someone the confidence to do the same thing, which is my next story that I'm leading into. On Monday, I went into Walmart right after I got the EEG. I didn't have the bandana yet. And there was a lady in the checkout. We were actually purchasing this bandana because I couldn't find my other bandanas. And there was actually a lady in the checkout, and she came up and talked to me, which I thought was like, oh, she's going to think something's wrong with me. She's going to ask all these questions. I'm going to have to explain it a billion times. No, she didn't do that. She came up to me and like was like talking to me she apparently has epilepsy, and she was saying like it's gonna get better and you're gonna do great, and actually you're lucky that they let you go on an EEG, ambulatory EEG, because with her apparently they kept her in observation for 48 hours, which once again is not fun. And she was like, oh honey, bless your heart, you're doing great, and just like enjoy life because you're young, you're beautiful, and you're gonna be okay. And having that was I'm gonna start crying. It was a complete blessing to me, because like remember I said that like I didn't want to be there, but I needed to go in and choose my bandana, I needed to go in and choose stuff. So I'm like, and at the time I had it wrapped around like under my chin. I don't anymore because it felt weird after that, but they do that as like a safety measure, that way you don't pull it off, because apparently some people do that. And they had it, and so I look like a mummy, and I hated it. I didn't like it, but there were a few people that like pointed it out, and they're like, you guys are beautiful, like you're gonna do great. And I remember like having that, and it was a true blessing, and I want to give other people that blessing. So within the next few months, I'm going to be talking about things with epilepsy, and actually November is Epilepsy Awareness Month. So of course, come November, I'm going to be posting about things that I do more than likely, but I will be also posting about it just throughout, because, you know, we need to be aware of health conditions like this, because it sucks, and it's not okay to think that something is wrong with someone. You know, you can go like, oh, what's going on? Like, it depends on tone of how you ask it, I guess. So yeah, I'm going to say goodbye because I gotta go, and I will be editing this and I will be posting it later, but I will see you guys in the next video, and more than likely still have the EEG, because I will be posting often and raising awareness about this. Also, by the way, you go into the hospital, use hand sanitizer. Please, just do it. One thing that I forgot to show everyone, like all of y'all, is like the whole setup. Like I said before, these are cords. Usually they will give you a black sleeve, but the one that they had on hand was too small for the amount of cords that I have. I have a heart monitor. That isn't such a big deal, but they like to monitor it. And this thing is measuring my brain. They also have like a little button in case I feel weird. I just press the button and it marks it on the EEG, which like The last one I had was this massive box in a humongous backpack. It was heavy. I hated dealing with it. And like, keep that in mind that like medical technology changes over the few years. And like, even when I had the ones in the hospital a few years ago, like, they were massive. They were horrific, loud machines. And this thing is so small. I don't know if it's different than the ones. I actually should ask that, but like, absolutely amazing. And it's definitely more wearable than the other one that I had. So, wanted to share that really quick. And now I'm gonna go because I am running late.